We begin tonight with the hundreds of anti-Trump protests right across the United States and here at home. No Kings protests. That's what they're calling them south of the border this weekend. Even in Washington, D.C., on the same day, Donald Trump is flaunting the country's military power at a parade in their nation's capital. Let's bring in CTV's Kimberly Fowler with more on this. And Kimberly, similar protests are happening north of the border as well, including here in Ottawa.
Yeah, that's right, Austin. In the U.S., the organizers say these No Kings protests are taking place in nearly 2,000 locations nationwide. Here in Canada, since we have a king who serves as the head of state, demonstrators are calling the rallies No Tyrants protests in response to Trump's recent actions. Hundreds of protesters gathered here in Ottawa on the York steps just off of Sussex Drive outside the U.S. Embassy. Now, the demonstrations are against the U.S. President Donald Trump's policies and rhetoric. Rallies simultaneously happening all across North America. Well, they come after days of demonstrations against U.S. federal immigration raids, where Trump deployed the National Guard and the Marines in Los Angeles without the consent of the California governor.
Well, if I can be honest, I'm terrified. I'm up here, which is, I'm safe for now. But I feel like a lot of people in the U.S. understand that what's happening in the United States right now is very similar to what was happening in Germany in the 1930s.
As a dual citizen, I am extremely concerned that the country that I lived in for most of my life is under a dictatorship. And my concern is that he will take over Canada.
Canadian protest organizers say peaceful No Tyrant rallies are being held in solidarity with the U.S. protests and in reaction to the Trump administration that has cracked down on free speech, detained people for their political views, and threats to deport American citizens with military force. Now, today is also Flag Day in the U.S., where in Washington, the U.S. Army is celebrating its 250th anniversary on what also happens to be President Trump's 79th birthday, all at an estimated cost of $45 million.